Hello, everyone. Welcome to Accelerate Your Interior or Fireproofing Estimating. My name is Lou. I'm with the Estimating Edge. I've been with the Edge for nearly 7 years. I think next month is my 7-year anniversary. I am joined today by a special guest. We have Marty on the line as well. Marty, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good to meet everyone. I'm Marty. I'm one of the founders of Workpack. Glad to see everyone today.
Right. All right, everybody, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to go over the edge. Most of you on the call are more than likely familiar with us. Those of you that aren't, reach out if you have any questions afterwards, and we will schedule some one-on-one time to go through the software together. For the rest of you that are on here that are edge users, we're going to primarily focus on um, kind of a new arrangement with bringing in your diagrams into Workpack in the beginning of the estimation process. So our primary focus is going to be going through what Workpack offers and those advantages. And then afterwards, we'll cover a little bit about what that integration looks like, and then we'll go through some questions and answers. So Edge Smart Takeoff is more than likely not something that you have on. So I'm gonna go into the portal after Marty's done. Don't get nervous. You're not gonna see Edge Smart Takeoff like you will on my screen today. It is something that you will need to have turned on. Afterwards, again, you can reach out to your rep and they can help you with getting that turned on. But you're going to need Edge Smart Takeoff for the actual portion of bringing the shapes and quantities into the edge from Workpack. All right, Marty, take it away.
Workpack is an AI quantity takeoff software. You can use it to detect walls, doors, windows, rooms, labels, tables, symbols, patterns, corners, and steel columns, which we recently introduced. Um, I will show you a high level demo today, and if any of you like what you see from this integration, we can do another session with one of your projects so that you can see all of that. The way the integration works is you set up your project inside Workpack, uh, run the AI takeoff, edit anything you want, and then you can export it into the edge. All your takeoff comes through, all your shapes come through, and then you can just map the what we call groups inside Workpack to your edge conditions. So you build all your conditions the same way that you do now. You just have a lot faster quantity takeoff process. It creates your bid inside the edge. It creates your pages inside the edge, and then you just map the conditions kind of one to one. So if we want to Kara, we want to jump into demo now.
Yep.
Okay. So we're inside Workpack now. It's web-based, cloud-based, so you can access it on any device. There's unlimited plan storage and sharing here. Create as many projects as you want, upload as many files as you want. There's no file size limitation. Office files, zip files, and PDFs here, so you can keep all your project files together. And then you can also create company shared projects so that everybody on the team can access the projects that you're working on. So you'll just create a project, upload the files, and then open them in the viewer. Um, Once you load the plans in, it picks up the sheet number and name automatically, so you can use this for navigation purposes. There's no setup required for this, so you don't have to draw a box anywhere or do anything, but it's fully editable, so you can adjust this however you want to. Um, and then we have two modes here. So we have takeoff mode and then AI setup mode. All of this AI stuff just really is more information faster, so you can make better project decisions faster, have better project outcomes. Um, Inside Workpack, we have takeoff mode and AI setup mode. It's sort of like if you played around with ChatGPT at all, or Grok, or any of these large language model kind of chat tools. You give it a prompt, and then it generates some work. So this AI setup mode is the, kind of the prompt engine. So you just go through, give it some instructions, just like you would with an assistant sitting right next to you. And then it generates the takeoff. Then you can edit it to make it your own, and then export it to use it in your estimate. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of drawing boxes around the areas that I want to detect objects inside of. It picks up the name and scale automatically. And then I can, as I mentioned, you can detect walls, doors, windows, rooms, labels, tables, symbols, patterns, corners, and steel columns. One of those things is labels. So for interiors, you can pick up wall tags, door tags, um, window tags, or room tags. Also, if you do specialties or anything else, you can pick up MEP fixture counts and things if you want those. But um, so labels can be anything. They can be custom. If you do demo, you can do the keynotes. So here, what we're doing is we're just setting up one label template, basically drawing a box, or I can hold control and click on it. I just select one of each of these. It's going to detect all of them and then match them up with their respective objects. So everything's broken out by type. And then here, I'm going to set up my ceiling plan. I'm going to call it a reflected ceiling plan so it knows that I don't want walls and doors on this plan. And then, as I mentioned, you can set up any table to match to those labels. So you can get doors all broken out, matched to the door schedule, matched to their labels. You can get room finishes broken out if you match those. But what I'm going to do right here is just the walls, doors, and windows on the floor plan, and then the ceilings. I'm going to do the area patterns and then the rooms as well. So if I have multiple ceiling plans, I can just apply to all takeoff zones with the same type. The takeoff zones are basically just the boxes that I drew. Um, and then I can remove the rooms from the floor plan. That's just a little bit helpful. So when you export this to the edge, you're going to see all your takeoff inside the edge. Um, you want that to come through without, kind of overlapping shapes. So it makes it a little bit easier on the edge side of things. So again, what I did here, I set up my zones. So I drew a box around this. I drew a box around this. I defined any label templates that I wanted. So like on here, I set up one wall label, I set up one window label, and then one door label, what we call label templates. Again, it's going to detect all of those, match those up with their respective objects. And then on here, I set up this zone to detect rooms and area patterns. So the concept here, after you give it instructions, that's kind of the first concept. The second concept is it's not rework, it's free work. So the AI just generates all this work for you. And then once it comes back, we're going to go out of AI setup mode. It's going to kind of come out of the phone booth sitting right next to you. And then we're going to be in takeoff mode again, which is all you. Even though it just generated all this work, takeoff mode is all you. And so, anything that it generates, you can edit it however you want to, adjust it, delete it, reclassify it. You can create additional takeoff to supplement what's already here. You can also, once you export it to the edge, create additional takeoff inside the edge if you prefer that workflow. So anything really detailed, soffits, really any kind of detailed takeoff that you want to do there, any backouts, better to do probably inside the edge, but the general editing is a lot easier and faster to do inside Workpack. So most people say this takeoff would take them a day or two to do. This, generated all of this in a minute or two. And so what we have here is all the walls and wall types, All the doors match to the door schedule. So you see here 11111 MMMMM. That 1 means it counted one A151 door, and the M means it matched the door schedule. So I can just click on that, see all the properties right from that. Same thing with windows. They're all broken out, according to their label. Um, you can filter anything you want on or off here. So if you just want to see walls, you can just look at the walls, and then you can also create anything else you want right from here. So if you want to create an additional OS6A, you can just create that right here. We also have this nice grouping mode feature that enables me to see all the walls of a certain type. And so, like in this example, we've got OS6A pointing to these. It identified this segment, this segment, this segment, and this segment as OS6A, but maybe I want to add this one to that as well. So I just click on it. This is single click in and double click out. So if I want to move something out of the group, I just double click here. And then again, single click in. So I can just do this, 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 this. And I can do the same thing with ceilings as well once we get over to that. So, and then you can put any questions that you have in the chat, at any point here. So hopefully that's helpful. You can also multi-select these things, right click to change the group. So if you want to move something into another group, you can do copy paste here, undo, redo, a lot of nice, features around all of that. So now I'll go into my ceiling plan. Let's go to this one, and then we'll see a couple of things. So we've got some overlapping things here. We've got rooms and we've got area patterns. So the area patterns, what that means is anything with a clearly defined pattern. So depending on your document, this is really project dependent. If you have clearly defined, gyp ceilings with speckled pattern and then ACT, with sort of the typical ACT pattern, this can work really, really well. It'll just give you a couple of different groups there, and then we can just double click and say that this is ACT1. If you have multiple types of ACT, it'll sometimes pick those up if those are different patterns in the view. And then we could, in this case, I might want this ACT1, or sorry, this here, which is group 2, to be in my ACT1 group. So I can do a couple of different things there. I can just pull this into this group and that'll move everything. Or if I cancel that, I can do the grouping mode feature for these different ceiling types, move those in. Now I have 0 square feet of group 2, and I can delete that. If I prefer to use the room areas, which these are different takeoffs, so again, not rework, it's freework, it's sort of like doubling up the takeoff, I can use this instead. So I could say that I have ACT1 here and drywall ceiling here. Make that a little bit easier to see. And then I can just select whatever I want to put into that group like this. If you have things like we have 2 different or multiple different ceilings here, I can right click, split an area that exists here, and then that'll split that out. I can move that into my drywall ceiling group. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. The last thing I'll show you before we export this to the edge is tables. So tables, if you have a unit matrix or door schedule, really anything, you can draw a box around this. It detects everything inside of it and makes it editable for you. So if we click table settings, we can see everything inside the schedule. This is all fully editable, so I can push, whatever information I want in here. I can insert columns or delete columns. I can, if you want to put formulas in here, you can do that too. But this is all exportable as well. So what some people, have been doing with this edge integration is just, getting the door schedule, exporting this to Excel, and then popping the quantities into the edge. You can also, create your door takeoff on here, either without the labels or with them, and then, map those to conditions inside the edge as well. So here I'm going to export this to Edge Smart Takeoff. And then here, I'm just going to add a bid. And again, this is going to create your bid inside the edge. So I'm going to click add bid. I see that bid pop up right here. It's going to also create all of your pages inside the edge. So when I export this over to the edge, it's going to create my bid, create my pages for pages that have takeoff zones on them. So when we set this up, it picked up the name and scale automatically. It's going to pop that over to the edge and set this page as a page inside the edge with this scale. So you always want to make sure that the scale is correct. You can edit the scales, put custom scales, whatever you want, before you export it, because that scale is going to be set for you when you push it over. And then anything that you want, like maybe you want a detail view or something else, but visible inside your takeoff, inside the edge. Maybe you want like a large scale view or something. You can just add a takeoff zone wherever you want to, and then that will export that page so that you can do any takeoff or just have it visible inside the edge once you get there. So hope that helps. Feel free to reach out so you can see what Workpack can be helpful with and how this integration goes. Lou can maybe show the export inside Edge Smart Takeoff and then how it works inside the Edge. And then, later we're going to show the steel column schedule and some of the fireproofing benefits, which is pretty cool as well.
All right. Thanks, Marty. We'll come back for fireproofing. Okay. So I am now in the Edge portal. I logged into the company that Marty sent all the information over to in the Edge. And this should all look pretty familiar to you. This is the basic Edge information here. And then we have Edge on site. Some of you may be familiar with Edge on site. It's tracking production in the field against the estimate. And then you'll see here, the new piece that we've added is Edge Smart Takeoff. So when we go into Edge Smart Takeoff, we'll go to the Bid Prep Manager, and you'll see Workpack 410 was the job that Marty just forwarded over to me. So when I go inside here, I can take a look here at the files. We can see here that the pages that he sent over are coming in. They're loading as we speak. So pretty quick process, right? Marty went through and had the takeoff done in 1 to 2 minutes instead of 1 to 2 days, and then forwarded it over to the Edge Smart Takeoff. In Edge Smart Takeoff, there's really not a lot that you're going to be doing functionally because you'll have fixed everything inside of Workpack already. You can come in and take a look at some of the information that came across. There's just not much to do with it because it's going to be already done. So you can see here, all of the takeoff is already done on top of those images. So primarily what you're going to be doing is coming over to the export button and pushing that information right over into the Edge. That's really it. There's not much else here that you're going to want to add to it. You'll have already done it prior to this point. So we'll go to the Edge now. And inside of my Edge bids, refresh this. And now I have my Workpack 410. All right, so now I'm going to check this out, and it should have my 4 pages that Marty sent over. All right, here we go. So bear with us here, guys. This is something that some of you are going to be familiar with and others may not be. And it's just going to be an opportunity for you to maybe learn. Others are going to be already familiar with this. So what we did is we came into those 4 pages. And what I like to do is use project conditions here. So this little button here will bring you over to what we call PC and CC pages, the project condition pages, and the common condition pages. So I'm going to add a page in here, and I'm just going to call it my PC page. And the only thing you need to remember when you're creating a project conditions page is to check this project conditions page box. It then changes this to a PC instead of the CC that was just there a second ago. So once you save that as your project conditions page, then you'll come in and do business as usual. You're going to now come in and enter in your wall types, for example. So he sent me a bunch of walls, so I'm going to bring them in, and you'll create your list of wall types and go into the condition properties just like you normally would and enter in all the information per the wall type. Another little trick here that I like to do is it's replicate condition, so it's an RC function here. So I like to do RC and then right click on it and then go to this replicate. So if I know I'm going to have, uh, 10 walls or something like that, 10 different wall types, then I'll just go ahead and enter in so that it'll replicate those wall types for me. And then you might also go in and add, I think we did an acoustical ceiling in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add an acoustical ceiling as well. Maybe they were 2x2s. All right. Okay, perfect. It just takes it and throws it in there. So I'm going to move that to the bottom of the pile here. The other thing that I'm going to do here is, again, some may be familiar with this. Some of the fans of keystrokes, I'm going to do F5. And you're just going to go into the condition properties. So we had it was a 0S 4F as a wall. And I'm going to do each one of these one by one to go through. And you're going to be going through the condition properties in your case. I'm going to do a 0S4L. And you'll continue on through this process. So I'm not going to do all 10 different walls here to show you, but I will do at least a couple more here to kind of make sure that we are bringing some data across, or at least I'll do 4 different wall types. So we'll make this one the last one. So it was 0S and 6A. I think that was kind of the big one. I think that Marty was doing earlier. All right, so as you're going through the process, you'll continue on through, and obviously you'll put in the appropriate acoustical ceiling piece. And then from here, you're going to go to your drawing screen. All right, I'm going to take the background piece out here so it doesn't keep flipping back and forth. And I'm going to start with my 0S4F wall. I typically, just for my own flow, I like to just go ahead and change the colors in the beginning there, and then continue on. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your page, and on upon bringing in that page, you're going to then see some of that information that you're going to use for mapping that information over from Workpack into the edge. So we're on that 0S4F, and if we had multiple pages that we were doing and you wanted to do them that wall into each of the pages all at the same exact time, you would come in here and do it by the section. And then you'll come in and grab those walls. So as you're creating your conditions and you're using the same naming nomenclature, you're going to just kind of come in and match the condition with the wall type. And that's pretty much it. So you're just going to grab that and assign it. It's going to say, do you want to do it to all the pages? You say yes, and then you'll go down to the next one. Again, I just sort of fell into the habit of changing the color first there and continuing on. So one by one, you will just continue to go through each of the colors, and then you'll have that 0S4L, and go grab the 0S4L and assign. Again, it's saying, do you want to go through each of the pages? So if we had 5 floors here of the same wall type in each of the floors, it would give me all of the quantities and it would list all of the floors. See, so on this example, we have 63 lineal feet, 63.66 lineal feet on the first level, and then 180 on the second level. Just as an example, that was reasonably timely there. And then you're just going to go one by one through it. So it's kind of more of the same from here, and you'll just map them all through, and you're still gonna go through and price the job. You're still gonna tweak and adjust your labor production rates. Pretty much everything else is what you're already used to. So that portion of it is going to be exactly the same. I'm going to just go down to the Armstrong ceiling plan, and I'm going to probably go to maybe it was one of these maybe that we were adding the ceiling into. So we'll go down and you'll see floors and ceiling here. And was it maybe one? Maybe it was one that,
Yeah, on the second level, I did I
oh, was it
did
the second?
created
Okay.
some of the groups,
All
which
right.
you can copy groups to another zone inside Workpack. So if you have 10 levels or 20 levels of the same building, you can copy those groups over so that you have the same group name. Um, but if you go to the other page in there, Lou, it'll work. But I mean,
I could
same concept
do it by the
applies.
section two there. Okay. All right. So it brought in some of the square footage from that floor for whatever the one was. I just brought it in there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And I'll just again really quickly bring over the other, your what would be on your other monitor, just so that you can see everything will still continue to flow through. You're still going to have information then showing up on your pricing screen. Your pricing is going to multiply through. You're still going to get your net cost. The idea here is to shave off a lot of the time that it's taking to get the takeoff done.
Yeah, most users across the board are about 4 to 10 times faster doing takeoff than whatever they were doing previously for us with Workpack. Most of the edge users using Workpack are about 10 times faster. So sometimes up to 100 times faster for some scopes, but most edge users are looking for really detailed takeoffs, and so it's closer to that 10 times faster kind of workflow. So and then as some of you have asked about any of the detailed things, backouts, those sorts of things, those end up better doing inside the edge. So, anything else you want to cover here, Lou?
No, I think it's time to switch back over to some fireproofing information.
Cool. Well, exactly halfway through, so good timing. And so This is going to be a little bit of a preview. The fireproofing is new for Workpack. This integration is not new, so we've been running this integration for about a year with the Edge, and so everything works quite well there. The fireproofing is new, but it's quite cool. And so what I'm going to show you today is a steel column schedule, and then we also have the structural framing plan as well. Um, if any of you want to see this afterwards, we can do demos with each of your projects. But inside here, I've got a steel column schedule um, set up, and all I'm going to say here is I just want to detect the steel columns on here, and it's going to take a minute, but once it comes back, it's going to give me all of the columns measured, broken out by segment, and with their correct sizes. So the sizes are just pulled from the sheet, and so it's already done. And so now, like it's got all of this. There here and there's some mistakes, just like on the floor plan. There's nothing shown here, but all the rest of these, it's got the sizes of every single one of these with the segment counts broken out. So if we click on any one of these, it's going to be each of my W14 by 68 in this case, each segment, and these are different segments, so you can separate these if you want to. All of these are grouped by color, and then again, all of these are exportable to the Edge as well. So I think the fireproofing is closer to getting to like that 100 times faster workflow quicker, even though this is new, but it's pretty cool. So um, that's kind of the long and short of it. I mean, you've got segment count and you've got linear measurements of these, if you're scaling these. So that's kind of all I have to show you on this. I know it's fast, but it goes quite quick. Anything that you want to create manually on top of this, you can, but we've already got all the groups, uh, what we call groups, created here, and then you can export this the same way that we just showed you. Export to Edge, and boom. So
All right, well, that is all we have to show you today. Before we let you go, we do want to cover a little bit of information about some of the other companies here at Foundation. The first one, obviously, is Foundation Software itself. It's an accounting platform. There are several others that are HQ Suite. The safety program in there, I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but the safety program in there is pretty awesome. We also have P4C, Payroll for Construction, helping out with payroll. And then McCormick is another estimation platform, but it's tailored more toward MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And then also we have Workmax, which is an incredible tool for out in the field tracking time. It's amazing. They can do all kinds of PTO for your vacation time and sick days and tracking hours towards specific codes. Lots of neat technology there. And now the best part. It's time for the Q&A. Let's see if anyone uh, asked any questions here.
there are a bunch of questions still in the chat. I've answered some of them in the chat already.
Ah,
One good one from Robert is, does this transfer to the drawings to detect the locations of columns on the drawings? We actually have that detected. Again, the fireproofing is new, and so it's basically detecting all the segment counts and matching them to size. But we actually have the entire column schedule kind of mapped. So yeah, I I think how we have it spec'd is that the segments are going to have an attribute of location, but you know more about your workflow than I do, and you know more about this than I do. So feel free to reach out and we can schedule a time to go through this together. I think that's going to be important as we go along. We do new releases with Workpack every 2 weeks. We move really quickly. We're very receptive to feedback. And so, if you have any questions or anything that you want to improve, feel free to reach out. Okay. Um, Fireproofing, ready to, I mean, it's ready to use. The integration from the edge side is like all great and works great. I would call it I mean, the Workpack side, it's all ready to use. I would say the feature is like partially developed. So probably a few weeks away from being something that you're going to want to use every day on every project, but the segment detection on the steel column schedule is, like that's working great. So kind of up to you. You're going to have to, see it on one of your projects, do a quick demo with me or, somebody else on my team, and then, see if it's ready for you and your workflow. Um, does that help us find the sides?
I have
Um,
one here too, Marty.
okay, yeah, Lou, go ahead.
Yeah. So well, the question was, do you have to use PC pages or can you use regular pages? And yes, you can use regular pages. Um, there's really no rules, right? You can use the edge in multiple kinds of ways. My personal preference, and that's all I was explaining, was that my personal preference is to use project conditions pages just for the ease of making all the changes in one spot instead of per page if something needs to be adjusted.
Great. That's a great question. And yeah, project conditions works uh, a little bit better on this with this integration, at least for now. But there, like we said, you can kind of do whatever you want there as well. Quentin asks about beam takeoffs from floor roof framing plans. It, that from the Workpack side is kind of in there, but will be more thoroughly developed over the next couple of weeks. It's kind of there, but not perfect yet. But it'll work similarly to how the column schedule works now, detecting the beams and sizes. So
All right, I have one here too. Is Workpack included in the current Edge license, or does it have an additional cost? So Workpack is completely and entirely separately from the Edge. So if you do want to do the Workpack portion of what we're showing you today, you would definitely reach out and get a hold of Marty. You would also want to get the um, Edge Smart Takeoff portion of it as well. But I would say, start off with the Workpack portion first and kind of learn your way around it, and then leverage the Edge portion for Edge Smart Takeoff to get that pushed over into the Edge.
okay, I just put my email in the chat. Um, Karina asks, is this a one user software? So Workpack is collaborative, so you can have entire company kind of accessing the same projects and the same takeoffs. You can also use this as an individual user. It's up to you. So whatever you want to do. Nicholas asks, how can we schedule a demo? You can just email me, Marty at workpack.ai. It's on the screen and in the chat. And then you can also just go to workpack.ai, the website, and schedule on there. There's a schedule button, and you can schedule it for whenever you want. Next week is better for me than like tomorrow, even if you want to see this like immediately. Go, Lou, if you have any others that you want to answer.
There's a fireproofing one here that's sort of interesting. It says, for fireproofing, can we customize default settings like material properties or fire resistance rating? For example, 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour per floor. So yeah, that functionality is all done within the edge. Choosing the hourly rating is how you are choosing the thicknesses inside of the edge. The portion that Marty is showing is the quantities coming over. So nothing changes regarding setting up your condition and your condition properties in the calcs condition. All of that still remains the same. All we're doing is sort of kind of decreasing that amount of time that you're taking to do the actual takeoff to get those quantities inside of each of those surfaces, right? Because that's the piece that Workpack is presenting the edge with. Hopefully that hopefully that answers the question
Yeah,
for you.
great answer, Lou, I think. Nick asks, will this still work if the column schedule and columns themselves are on different pages? So yes, the column schedule detection just works on the steel column schedule. That just detects them on the column schedule. You can also detect um, anything that is a symbol on any page within any document for any reason that you want to. So you just draw a box around any symbol and it'll count, whatever number of symbols you want. So if you just want to count the columns.
I think we're I think we're all set.
Shedrick had one for you, Lou. Can the edge now do negative linear takeoff?
Can the edge now do negative linear takeoff? Ooh, I don't believe so. It does negative area, but I'll have to get. Oh shit! I'll have to get back to you, Shed. Uh, yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one. Is that the last one? I don't.
Yeah, I think that's the last question. Some great questions from
Oh,
everyone here, and great great participation. Great job, Lou, and great job
yeah.
everyone
Nice work, Marty. It was
with your
great.
questions.
Looked awesome. Thanks for the
Thanks, you
sneak
too.
peek.
Sure. Kara, you want to close us out?
Yep. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.